Officially at halftime of the 2K26 news cycle. Not much came out in the last week unless you're a My Team fan, but the dust has officially settled. We've entered the second calm before the storm. The next 12-13 days, we're about to get a lot of event information. As you guys know, we haven't had that yet. The city reveal, and then the game is going to be out. But before we get into the main topic of the video, I want to go over this Joe Knows tweet that was deleted recently, where he said, "Quick answer this. If I'm able to show y'all early gameplay, would you rather see raw unedited gameplay and cut up game clips video?" Now, what do you think that means? Well, if you look at our roadmap for 2K26, you see we got My Career plus My NBA this week, and then community content. Now, you guys know what that's going to be. Like I said, the second half is about to begin. So what I wanted to do today was go over every single bit of information that has came out, not showing you all of it, but just going over what I think is the most important stuff that's came out throughout the last month or so. And then I might make one more after we get all this news before 2K26 comes out. So you can watch this video and then the next one, and that's going to show you all the main information. So we're going to have a refresher here, but also there is a lot of people that can't watch every single video. So this is going to be all what I believe is the most important information summed up into one video. If you guys want another one like this after the second half ends very soon, get this video to 3,000 likes and let's get into it, okay? So there will be no RNG in the shooting of 2K26. We are starting from the very beginning pretty much into very recent news. Now, if you guys don't know what RNG is, man, even if you do, it cannot be in 2K. It was a major topic this year. Random number generator is what it means. And it was the highest it has ever been in 2K history this year on 2K25. As well as the slingshot effect, skill-based matchmaking, engagement optimized matchmaking. I mean, we could go on and on. But essentially, if you time your shot correctly, you are now rolling a dice. If you time it perfectly, and it has to land on the number 2 or 3. If it lands on 4 or 5, well, you just don't make the shot, even if you perfectly timed it. In 2K26, there will be, for the first time ever, from Mike Wang's words, a fully pure green window. So in the past, you have a window to time your shot on 2K. Let's say it's 50 milliseconds. A jump shot is about 500 to 600 milliseconds when you hold down the button to when you actually can just fully, you can hold it down all the way and the ball still leaves your hand no matter what, right? It's about 500, 600 milliseconds for most shots. Well, in the beginning of your 50 millisecond green window and the end on the edges, there was usually RNG. So it's like you timed your shot right, but you didn't really time it right. So there would be RNG on the edges of the window in most games where you could time it in that spot and you're not going to 100% make your shot. Some games like 2K19 and I think 2K24 at the beginning of the year had no RNG, where if you timed it in the window, it always goes in. 2K26, the entire window will be where if you time it there, it will go in, okay? If you time it, of course, we don't know about how contests change that, but for a wide open shot, if you time your shot correctly, it will go in. That's how the game should be. User input should be the #1 deciding factor on whether you or your opponent win the game, and it should never, ever be an algorithm that decides that, okay? That is a huge topic, so I wanted to go over it for a little bit. Now, we have slow motion Euro steps, where you can hold the left trigger and decelerate. You guys know a lot of NBA players are decelerating these days, okay? So it's going to be in 2K26. We'll see how it works out. Then you also have wrap passes, where you can throw the ball around defenders this year, apparently, okay? We'll see when the game actually comes out. I think pretty much anyone can agree that the passing system has needed a massive revamp in 2K for a very long time. You guys know I average a lot of assists when I play. Like this year, I average like 10 assists a game in rec, like 35 and 10 or something like that. I know how to pass. okay? But there's a lot of scenarios where in real life versus on the game, you're passing the ball and your guy just like throws it right at the defender. He doesn't make any sort of effort to throw it around, throw it above. And yes, there's controls to throw it above and stuff, but hopefully it's going to be better this year with these new wrap passes and stuff, okay? So are there instant greens? Okay, so this year there is going to be instant greens, but it's based off your quality of the shot and your ratings. It's very confusing, but yeah, it's I don't know. I think that 2K is doing that this year so that next year they can actually bring back full instant greens and people are gonna be like, oh my gosh. But yes, for the most part, I think if you're wide open and you time your shot correctly, you will get an instant green. And the reason why I'm bringing that up, you might not care about some of this news, guys, but I'm trying to, for the majority of people, I think that a lot of people do care about the instant greens, and I don't really know why. It's not a massive deal to me, but there is definitely people that really care about that, so that's why I'm going to have it in there. Anyway, is there still a high risk reward setting? No, shots and layup timing risk reward settings have been removed. Everyone is playing on the same playing field in 2K26. Again, very important. There is going to be custom layup packages in 2K26, kind of like the dunk style creator, but a little bit deeper to where you can actually take each animation out of a package and put it into your own package. I wish they would do that for dunks and dribble moves. I'm guessing that's what 2K is going to do in the future. Of course, they're not going to do it all at once. I guarantee you it's going to be like that in 2K27, 2K28. They're going to go one edition at a time. But still, this is a good jump forward where you can actually customize the complete package, each and every animation inside of one player's animation. Like, let's say Devin Booker layup style, you can just take the floater out, and then you can have LeBron James layup, like actual driving layup. Or you can have James Harden's Euro step, into the paint. Like, you can just change each and every one and put it into one package, which is pretty cool. It's a great idea for sure. Anyway, we have the no dip catch and shoots, where you're going to be holding LT or L2 to be able to go straight into a catch and shoot shot on 2K26. This is going to be an interesting, really interesting part of the gameplay, in my opinion, that people aren't really talking about that much. Like, it's genuinely going to be one of the biggest parts of the gameplay if it works how they are describing it. And I don't see that many people really talking about it, where there's no reason to not do a no dip catch and shoot. And so people are going to be firing that thing off quick. I mean, I don't know what spot up jump shots people are going to have and stuff, so we will see. But Mike Wang does talk about it a little bit more in a minute, so let's just wait till we get there. Okay, the dunk meter green window will adjust dynamically this year, just like layups. I mean, it should have done that from the very beginning. That's very good. And also, with your dunks, as you all just seen, just like your jump shots this year, everything is going to have a green window. In 2K25, you could not see your actual green, like where to release it. They did not want you to have an actual, it was really, I don't know why they did that, bro. I mean, it was obviously to just put so much RNG in the game. It is what it is, but now it is back, and it's not something that I'm like, let's go, because it should have just never left the game in the first place, right? But good improvement. All right, are there any changes made to the L2 cheese, L2 dexing? Yes, they have made efforts to reduce the unrealistic motion and cuts that can result from dexing. Attempting to use dexing to cut back and forth repeatedly will consume adrenaline. So we will see how that works. In 2K26, they did say they have a new technology with the foot planting for less sliding, for less unrealistic movement of the feet. So, again, I want to see when the game comes out. It does sound good. And also, I do not have the picture of it, but Mike Wang replied to Power earlier in the news cycle and said that when centers are holding LT above the free throw line, they are much more likely, much more vulnerable to getting ripped while holding LT. As you guys know, in 2K25, if you have 25 ball handle as a center, as soon as you're holding LT, you automatically have legend unpuckable. Like, it's not like you can't get ripped, but it's crazy. I mean, they can literally not be looking in your direction. You can walk up to there with a 99 steal and not take it out consistently, which is insane, right? But I don't know how it's going to work in 2K25. I've already thought of ways that people are going to have workarounds to it. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get it out there. Of course, it's going to happen, but if we can slow it down, we can slow it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I might speed it up and getting people the idea that I have. I'm not L2, and you guys know I don't do it, but I don't want people to do it. It's just, I can't believe that was the meta this year. It's unfortunate how 2K didn't make any changes to trying to stop L2ing this year until the next game came out. It's really, really bad, bro. I hope that does not happen in 2K26, anything like that, okay? Changes to dunking. Yes, you are just holding the pro stick down now to activate your dunk meter. So your right stick down will just give you the dunk meter this year. You don't have to go up, down. You don't have to do anything. You just go straight down and it will give you the dunk meter. You can still dunk with the button as well. Rhythm shooting has got an upgrade in 2K26. It's going to be more dynamic where you can, pick really your release speed. And it's going to be confusing. It's going to be interesting to see. It sounds very forgiving in 2K26 where you can just kind of release it however you want. We'll see when the game comes out. Of course, I have to keep saying that, guys. Please understand that a lot of these things we're just going off of what they're saying. And I don't think that 2K or Mike Wang necessarily has the agenda of like, I'm going to lie to people before the game comes out. I don't think it's like that. I just think that Mike Wang has a scenario in his head of how things will go, how they will play out. But then when millions of people play the game, it doesn't end up that way, obviously, every single time, because there's a lot of people and there's people trying to figure out the best ways to do everything as soon as the game comes out. Mike Wang is really just focused on like a simulation game, right? Some people are just like, all right, I got to figure out the best way to win. I don't think he's really doing that in the playtest and stuff. Okay. So anyway, people were complaining this year that button shooting was eliminated, basically. If you wanted to be, even close to a rhythm shooter, you had to rhythm shoot. So I don't necessarily believe that. It depends on your ratings. Okay, if you have a 99.3 especially, I don't think rhythm shooting was that big of a deal versus the button. But as you went further down, I do think that rhythm shooting had a massive advantage over button shooting. And I'm not one of those people that wants rhythm shooting in the game or doesn't want it in the game. I don't really care. You guys seen, I can adapt to it very easily. I really feel like it's not that big of a skill gap. Like some people make it out to like, bro, you're going down and up. It's almost the same thing as holding down X or square. You're going, pressing it down, letting go, right? It's a little bit, I guess, more skill gap, but there was a lot of people that complained this year that, it was too big of a gap between the button and rhythm shooting. Okay, so Mike Wang answered, is there a gap, basically? And he said the goal was to make both rhythm and button shooting viable options with neither having an advantage over the other. But there are very different mechanics, so it's not really possible to directly compare them. Some will be much better with the button and some will be much better with the stick. Rhythm shooting is definitely more rewarding in my opinion, though. I don't know. I don't really understand Mike Wang on this one. Like, we need percents. We need to know, okay, this year with your jump shot meter off, how much of a boost do you get? Do you get a boost at all for rhythm shooting? We need to know these actual percentages. I know that some people only play sports games, but there's games like there's so many games, Elden Ring, even Call of Duty will show you how much an attachment increases your range or increases your damage. I would really love to see, and I've talked about this for years, once or twice a year, not very often, but where we can see, hey, catch and shoot on silver versus catch and shoot on gold gives you this much of an increase to your green window or something like that. I would love to see the actual stats. 2K Labs does a pretty good job, 2K Toots, but I want to see it from 2K themselves. 2K Labs, 2K Toots, they're only two or three, there are only a few people. So it takes sometimes the whole year goes by and we don't get a test on something that I would like to see. And yeah, it's unfortunate. I would love to see all the stats right away. Yeah, I don't know. I could go on and on about that, okay? But Are there any changes to dribbling? This is a big one for a lot of guys that care about dribbling. Dribbling has changed a lot in 2K26. Branching and chaining moves will generally feel more responsive, and you can interrupt, cancel more moves than you could in 2K25. We made an effort to make dribbling faster and the inputs more responsive as well. You'll find some great new content as well, blah, 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 the Scottie Pippen behind the back. So dribbling is supposed to be more responsive. You can cancel out of more moves. It's supposed to be faster. And on top of that, what we haven't talked about yet is the game speed is officially, and see, we get a number on this, like an actual number. I would love to have actual numbers on everything, Mike Wang. But the game speed is officially, as of now, 10% faster than 2K25. So you can go on 2K25 and take the game speed up from 50 to 55 because that's a 10% increase. I said that in another video and people were like, what? 10% increase would be 10. No, 10% of 50 is 5. Anyway, go throw it on 55 and you'll get a kind of feel. Of course, it's not the same game. It's going to be a different game. Movement, all that type of stuff is going to be different, but a little bit of a feel for how the gameplay speed is going to improve. Okay, so is the size of the green window different for no dip, catch, and shoots? And this is the only one we have from Mike where he says, yes, it is the same as a regular shot, but it's possible this could change in the future. Now, I've talked about this in a few videos, how I don't feel like that makes a lot of sense in terms of a 99 three-point player like Steph Curry and someone with a 65 three-point can do a no-dip catch and shoot with the same efficiency and the same green window as a regular shot. I feel like someone like Steph Curry or Klay Thompson is going to be much better at doing a no-dip versus someone who's already not that good of a shooter. But I have actually seen a guy comment a few times now, every time I bring it up, and he's like, well, yeah, but the advantage or the disadvantage you do by being able to do a no dip catch and shoot is you have to be perfectly, you have to be standing still. So it creates less, chaos around the court where people are dexing around and moving for no reason. People love to do that in the rec, where they think the entire team has to be moving, or it's not real basketball. Oh, I made a build, I gotta shine as well. It's crazy. They actually play the opposite of what they think is team basketball. Your whole team does not need to be moving at one time. You don't need to be sending 4 cuts of play. If you're a smart player, you know how to stop. Okay, they're gonna cut this play, they're gonna cut the next play, he's gonna cut every single play, right? Sometimes you need to switch up the offense, stand still for a little bit, let a play roll out, let one guy's come over from the top, from the elbow, take an off ball, one guy cut, do a Fifi. If you guys know 2K plays, switch it up. You don't got to do the same thing, but also you're getting rewarded for standing still is basically what I'm saying. All right. You can do pick and pops. You can do a quick slip. There's so many other things than just doing a cut every single play. But yeah, I don't know. That's just the rec, man. I can't play a random rec. Anyway, baseline sensitivity. Yes, there was an improvement to address baseline sensitivity, guys. This year, baseline sensitivity was whack. It was obviously not in a good spot, but like I've said before, 2K is not very good at balancing a lot of changes, so it might be overpowered next year. You might be able to just run baseline and cheese like older 2Ks, and that won't be very balanced for gameplay. That's all I care about is balance for gameplay. If you guys are new, that's what I go for. Unbiased opinions on trying to get balanced gameplay where the majority of players will enjoy the game, okay? And have a high skill gap in the game as well. Will there be a boost for turning the shot meter off? Yes, it will slightly increase the size of your green window from Mike Wang himself. And like I said, guys, I would love to have an actual percentage. We have a percentage of, I'm not going to use the meter anyway. If there's a 1% boost, I'm turning the meter off. And honestly, even if there wasn't, I'm probably still not using meter. I'm so used to it, and I don't like the delay of the meter. And also, that's what a lot of people use to cheat. Not saying if you do use the meter, you're cheating, but it's just another way for people to, kind of prove yourself that you're not, doesn't mean you're not cheating, but you guys know what I'm talking about, man. In 2K24, I did an entire hand cam video shooting with like a 45 three-pointer or a 50 three-pointer. I might have to do some more of those in 2K26 because, the cheating accusations are going to be insane with a pure green window. It's going to be wild out there. But anyway, are there any changes to pluck steals and lane steals? On-ball steal targeting and steal animations have been improved to reward defenders who position themselves well and anticipate the dribbler's moves. the canned animation pluck steals, meaning like an animation plays out and you can't do anything about it. Basically, it's just a whole animation that has to play out, have been almost entirely disabled. Pass interceptions have been tuned a bit, but are similar in effectiveness to 2K25. Now, again, Mike Wing says tuned, but he doesn't say whether it was buffed or nerfed. It's just little things, guys, bug me. You know, I want to know what Mike is talking about. There was a few things that I didn't even put in this video because we don't actually, like the shot contest system. They told us it was tuned and changed, but what was changed about it? What was tuned about it? What game is it similar to in shot contest system? I told you guys before 2K25 came out, it seemed very similar to the 2K19 shot contest system, and it was. Okay, so anyway, are there any changes to burst and changes in direction for ball handlers? We spent some time tuning the dribbler's ability to start, stop, and cut. The speed and tightness of changing directions will vary based on ratings and your dribble style. Now, guys, please remember that just last year, before 2K25 came out, they told us that, you know, I forgot what the picture was in the gameplay trailer where it was like quick stops and, you know, dynamic foot plant, whatever it was, and it just isn't true in 2K25. You know, there's some examples where it does look decently good, but there's a lot that looks really bad. And there's just a lot of times where you want to stop and you don't get the stop that you want, and it's literally quick stops or RNG. Like, as crazy as that sounds, like everything is RNG. I mean, you can do the same exact move into a quick stop every time, which is, you know, just doing like a hesitation or whatever before you shoot the ball, and you're not going to get the same stop into your shot every time, even if it's the exact same scenario. And I'm not even talking about like, oh, it has to be like that every time. It's like 1 out of 10 are going to be the same. Like, they're all different by just a little bit usually, but it's still pretty annoying how different it is. Like, Steph Curry is not going to do the same sequence of moves into a stop and shoot scenario where it's going to be different that much. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That one's not a big deal to me, but I just wanted to, I don't see a lot of people talking about how even quick stops are RNG. But are there any improvements to standing dunks? We've reworked the logic for standing dunks to make them more reliable for bigs who aren't too crowded under the rim. We've also returned standing skill dunks to have generally larger green windows to compensate for how fast most of those dunks are. So here is again where I like to caution balance of gameplay in 2K25. I just did a standing dunk as I was watching, but look, the standing dunks weren't in that good of a spot in 2K25 in terms of balance this year. It was more the logic just didn't make a lot of sense. You would just miss shot like dunks that you shouldn't miss, but they did that because in 2K24 they were too overpowered. They were too overpowered mainly because of the Kobe jab step. If you guys played 2K24, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You could do a jab step. It literally every time there was no combating to someone doing a jab step. You couldn't. It was basically an exploit in the gameplay. We don't want exploits in the gameplay. We want balance. You could do a jab step. It throws your defender out the way. There is nothing you could do to combat it. And then you have a massive standing dunk green window. So again, just like the green window this year on 2K26 for the dunks and, you know, now standing dunks, I told you guys I think 2K is trying to, in many areas from what I'm seeing, give us a middle ground of 2K24 and 2K25. Like finesse finishing layups in 2K24 were... There was some that were literally exploitive, like the scooper layups. I showed you guys in many videos where if a defender was in a certain spot, you could do a scooper every time. There was no blocking it, there was no stealing it, and you could have very low ratings to activate it. You didn't have to have high ratings or anything like that. You also had a massive green window. They could have really high defense. It still didn't matter. So there were exploits inside of the finesse finishing. And again, like 2K normally does, instead of really just fixing that and kind of toning it down, nerfing finesse finishing a little bit, I would say, in my opinion, this year finesse finishing was heavily nerfed and was not very effective. So like I said, I think they're trying to find a middle ground for that. But again, just like the standing dunks, I think that we have a pretty high chance, and the baseline sensitivity, all this stuff, for all these things to be overpowered next year. Maybe even exploitive, but we will see. Okay, I don't want to freak out and say that anything should be changed at the moment until we see the gameplay. And you guys know, when I talk about gameplay changes in the last 3-4 years, I only really want things changed that are massively exploitive, where 99% of people can look at it and say, okay, that is definitely an exploit. All right, it is not something that should be in the game, not something that's like, oh, I think shooting should be a little bit better, or shooting should get nerfed a little bit. I don't focus on those things. I like to focus on actual exploits like the L2 cheesing. And at the beginning of 2K25, I think the only thing that I really called for being changed, like actually saying, hey, this has to be changed, was the close shot exploit, where you could green 10 very tight close shot post fades in a row without even having to time it. Okay, I give my opinions on some things that I think, okay, like in the beginning of the year I said, hey, I don't think the dunk meter logic is in a good spot. I didn't say it has to be changed, but I said I don't think it's in a good spot. So there's a big difference in when I say something needs to be changed and when I just give my opinion on how it is in terms of balance and how it should be, how correct it is, right? Like finesse finishing is not in a good spot this year. Dunk logic was not in a good spot. It definitely could be better in terms of, yeah, people are not going to make those builds because it's just not good. Like, it's really just not that good. You see what I'm saying? And you want every style of gameplay, especially with a high rating, to be good. You know, you want 99 layup to be good, and it's just not that good. All right, you see what I'm saying? So anyway, my bad for the little yap right there. Our motion styles on 2K26 are going to affect your gameplay. Driven by pro play, just like dribble styles, some styles will naturally be quicker and more explosive than others. For 2K26, we've added rating gates, so you'll need higher attributes to equip the more effective styles. Now, I've told you guys I don't like this. I don't like dribble styles affecting your speed. I don't like motion styles affecting your speed. But 2K this year is trying to gate them, attribute gate them. So if they do it correctly, it's not that big of a deal. And by correctly, I mean, of course, your highest attribute gated motion styles and dribble styles should be your best ones. However, the chances of that actually happening are very slim. For example, let's say the best dribble style for a 6'6" is at 75 ball handle, but there's one at 90. Well, that just means that the balancing of the builder is going to change based off that right there. You don't have to go 90 speed with ball if the best dribble style is at 75. So if 2K does it correctly, yeah, it'll be good for balance. You know, people will have to go high on attributes to get that and motion styles and stuff, but the chances of them doing it, we'll just have to see. All right, I don't want to write it off, but we'll have to see. All right, so in 2K26, you will be able to misdirection behind the back, crosses, tweens, and hezzies by starting a standing behind the back, cross, tween, or hezzy, and respectively, and then immediately holding turbo and throwing the right stick in the opposite direction before the first bounce. So some more combos are coming back, like Mike Wang said, where you're able to cancel out of stuff and blah, blah, blah. Also, we are going to get momentum crosses by flicking up on the right stick to start a standing in and out, and then immediately sprint with turbo toward the offhand. So our 2K17 kind of momentum crosses will be back. There was a momentum cross in 2K25. Not a lot of people know that, but it was within the LaMelo Ball dribble style only, and it was very slow. It just was not a good move. There is not worth it at all to go to LaMelo dribble style just for that, right? So anyway, there will be a layup meter off boost, just like turning off your layup meter, your jump shot meter. Again, I really wish we could get percentages. That would be great. So now into our kind of newest news that we've got so far. Our builder is going to have 3 max plus 1s as of right now. Some people are saying there might even be 4 and 3 max plus 2s. This is some of the biggest news of the entire video. Then as you see in the bottom left, you have the clutch gene. The clutch gene takes a badge's current level and raises it by 1 in clutch moments near the end of games. The badge does not need to be maxed. Now here is the next thing. Your clutch gene is only going to be for Season 1. Then in Season 2, we don't know exactly the order, but For example, you're going to have Hot Start in the next season, as you guys see in the top. Badges equipped with this perk will be boosted 1 tier beyond their max potential during the early portions of the game. And in the next season, you'll have Takeover Surge, which is badges equipped with this perk will be boosted 1 tier beyond their max potential while you have Takeover level 5 active. So there's going to be a lot of different boosts for your badges in 2K26, creating a lot more kind of overpowered builds. The builder in 2K26 right now is looking very, very similar to 2K25, which I'm okay with. I think that, you know, we have freedom, quote unquote freedom, instead of pie charts, and there's really not much 2K can do besides get it down more polished and correct. Like the L2 cheesing this year was perfect for we could talk about it for 10 minutes, was perfect for everything. RNG, but also the builder. It didn't tether animations correctly in terms of the L2 cheesing guys. Like they can have 99 speed, 99 acceleration, and they don't have to have ball handle past like 70, and they have really low speed with ball. So that's how they're able to make these super crazy builds, which doesn't eliminate L2 cheesing if they weren't able to do that, but it wouldn't make their builds as good. They can have 99, they're making 6'4" with high steel, 99 speed, 99 acceleration, 99.3, because they don't have to upgrade certain things like ball handle and speed with ball very high, which means because they don't tether correctly. Tethering is just where you upgrade it, like speed, and now it makes something else upgrade. You know, you guys are used to the builder in 2K25, 2K24. Tethering has been in the game for a while. So there is custom takeovers in 2K26. They've said it is the last reward in the takeover section. You can build your own takeover, but we don't know when you're going to unlock it. So it could be pretty far into the legend grind. So if it is, not everyone's going to be able to get it. So don't get too excited yet. All right. There's going to be build specialization where you have to have a 60 driving layup and 60 driving dunk, or you guys can see all the requirements right here. And the build specialization is going to give you goals. It's going to give you goals that will give you 2 cap breakers in the end. Okay. For that section, and 1 max plus 1 and 1 max plus 2. So you've got 9 goals. Some of the rewards are like a different archetype name, a arm sleeve. There's some other rewards inside of the 9. I think it was 9 goals, but we'll get more into that in a minute. So cap breakers are going to be more important this year in terms of when you have very low attributes. As you guys see, if you have a 25 standing dunk, 1 cap breaker can bring it up to a 40 standing dunk. Now, for the most part, it's not going to matter. There's going to be some times when it does benefit you to do that, and sometimes where it doesn't. For example, if you have a 94 perimeter defense and you want to bring it to a 99, you're going to want to use the cap breakers there, then putting 5 cap breakers onto standing dunk from a 25 and bringing it up to like a 70. The weight of the actual attribute is going to give you much more benefit. You're going to be able to get a better build by putting that +5 into your perimeter defense than your standing dunk from a 25, because of how much overall you get from it. You see what I'm saying? And it's going to be a little confusing for people, but there is also 4 rebirths in 2K26. Silver, which is unlocked out of 90 overall, which is what we've had for years. Then you have Gold, Hall of Fame, and Legend. Now, what this means is, after you unlock Silver Rebirth, you can make a build. Once you get that over to 95 overall, you'll unlock Gold Rebirth. What Gold Rebirth means is you will have to make a new player, and all the badges that can go up to Gold will immediately start at Gold. You make another build to get it to 95 overall. You see what I'm saying? You're going to have Hall of Fame Rebirth. So it's going to be good for people that make a lot of builds and people that don't have the time to grind out the badges, or just don't want to. You know what I'm saying? You're on your 4th, 5th build. You don't want to grind out the badges. Well, now it's going to give them to you and incentivize you, of course, to make more builds, which makes 2K more money. That's a lot of these things, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's evil. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of changes that are good for us and 2K, and we've talked about that before. Okay, so some of them are strictly for 2K. All right, but you know, some of them are not. Okay. Are you limited to 1 custom takeover? So people are wondering about that. Nope, it is going to be, as you guys see, like Call of Duty. where once you have unlocked custom takeover, you'll have 4 custom takeovers. So you'll have classes, you'll have slots that you can edit, and you can change in between games. So let's say, you want to change from this custom takeover to the next one, you should be able to do it in between games. Can any attribute be boosted with your custom takeover? Anything but non-physical attributes, guys. Okay, so you can't do strength, you can't do speed, you can't do acceleration, all that type of stuff with your custom takeover. That does not mean, we do not know yet if there's going to be any actual takeovers where you can do that, but they have already told us that in 2K26 they have taken down the takeovers from like 22 to 11. So they might have completely taken out all of the physical takeovers. We don't really know yet. All right, so I'm just letting you guys know. All right. So you can do the build specialization quest in your single player modes. This is very important because, like, for example, the shooting quest goal number 9 was 2,000 mid-ranges, 2,000 three-pointers, and of course this would set bad gameplay for a lot of people. People are still going to do it because they're going to be like, I'm not playing my career. And what I mean is, like, in random rec, they're just going to force up, shots trying to get their build specialization done. So it's going to create some chaos, a little bit more chaos in the random rec and stuff, and, the random theater, all that. But it's good that there is an option to go do it in my career, so it will lower that a good amount, okay? Anyway, can you apply cap breakers earned from build specialization to any attribute? No, you can only do it in your specialized area. So if you do a shooting build specialization, you can only add it to your mid-range, free throw, 3-point, stuff like that. But you can also add them to your physicals. So that's just a little something to keep in mind, is that you can do +1, +2 to speed, whatever you want to do inside of your build from your build specialization. And I didn't say this as well, guys, but you can do build specialization only one time per build, okay? Also, with build specialization, if you complete the shooting build specialization, if you make a new build and select shooting for that, it will already be done. If you're on goal number 5 of the shooting build specialization on build 1 and you make a new build, it will already be on goal number 5. So that is important to note as well. I think we've pretty much went through all the very, very important stuff, as well as I will leave you guys with this one right here where Uncle Demi told us that, big builds were going to be better in 2K26. And Mike Wang told us that he is moving up animations to 6'10", other animations that normally you would not be able to get, and will also do the same for very many dribble sigs previously limited to small guards. So taller guard builds are going to be able to get more dribble moves on 2K26. They're not going to be able to get Steve Francis and stuff like that. Maybe like 6'5" if they max out their ball handle, but you're not going to see a 6'10" with Steve Francis because you still have to have the attribute requirements. Oh, I haven't really took a deep breath in a minute, man. Deep breath Badgie. If you guys have made it this far, comment down below deep breath Badgie, okay? I've went 38 minutes without taking a deep breath. But look, in 2K26, man, you're going to be able to get animations that 6'4" and under were only able to get before, but you're still going to need the ball handle, guys. You are still going to need the ball handle. So a lot of people are freaking out over stuff we don't really know yet. And they're saying that tall guards are going to be the best things ever. I still think that there's, at the moment, going to be a good amount of variety. More variety in 2K26. I don't think we're going to be seeing demigods. Oh my God, small guards are not ever going to be able to be used again. But it just makes sense. It should have always been this way, that if you're 6'5", 6'6", and you have enough ball handle to get a move, you should be able to get it, right? So the reason why they're doing that is because the best players, most of the best players in the NBA are tall players. You still have your short players that are really good, like Jalen Brunson and stuff. Trust me, I know. But like, the 2 finals, NBA finals PGs were Shea and Tyrese Halliburton, 6'5", 6'6". I mean, you could keep going. Like, the best guards in the league, a lot of them are tall now. A lot of the best players are tall. A lot of tall guys are dribblers. They can dribble. They can get shifty with it. You got KD. You got Chet can dribble. Wemby can dribble. So it just makes sense that there's going to be a little bit more variety for tall people that want to still be able to dribble. Like, it just makes sense that you can make a tall build that can still move a little bit. I'm not saying left, right, and dribble out the shot clock, but it just makes sense that you can still be shifty. You're not just, no one, for example, in 2K25, in any competitive mode uses anything over 6'4". Even Joe knows, primarily throughout almost the entire year, has used a 6'4" or under guard build. That's how you know it is bad, okay? That's how you know it's really bad, when Joe is not out there using a LeBron James build in Comp Pro Am and stuff like that. So guys, if you didn't see the last video, man, click right here.